Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We continue reading from Srimad Bhagavatam. We are on Canto 4, Chapter 12, Text 10. Athaya Jata Yagnesham
अथाय जतः यज्ञेशं
Kratubhir Bhuri Dakshinehe
क्रतुभिः भूरि दक्षिणेः
Dravya Kriya Devatanam
द्रव्यक्रिया देवतानां
Karma Karma Phala Pradam.
कर्म
कर्म कर्म फलप्रदम्.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. As long as he remained at home, Dhruva Maharaj performed many great ceremonial sacrifices in order to please the enjoyer of all sacrifices, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Prescribed ceremonial sacrifices are especially meant to please Lord Vishnu, who is the objective of all such sacrifices and who awards the resultant benedictions. In Bhagavad Gita 3.9, it is said, Yagnarthat karmano anyatra lokoyam karma bandhana. One should act or work only in order to please the Supreme Lord. Otherwise, one becomes entangled in the resultant reactions. So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3, Karma Yoga, text 9, he said, work for the pleasure of the Lord. Because we have to work. Without work, we cannot maintain our body. Something or the other we have to do. We are going to speak, we are going to eat, we are going to go somewhere. So Krishna is saying, do act only for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. Otherwise, we are getting entangled in the results. We are getting reactions to that result. And those reactions could be good or they could be bad, but they keep us here in the material world. But if we act to please the Lord, then that becomes a karma. A karma. That has no material reaction. And this way, gradually, we can get freed from this cycle of birth and death. According to the 4 divisions of Varna and Ashram, Kshatriyas and Vaishyas are especially advised to perform great ceremonial sacrifices and to distribute their accumulated money very liberally. Dhruva Maharaj, as a king and ideal Kshatriya, performed many such sacrifices, giving very liberally in charity. So this was one of the duties of the Kshatriya and Vaishyas, to perform great sacrifices and give charity. So Dhruva Maharaj was doing that. Kshatriyas and Vaishyas are supposed to earn their money and accumulate great riches. Sometimes they do it by acting sinfully. Kshatriyas are meant to rule over a country. So it's the duty. It's the duty of the Kshatriya to protect the citizens. And then sometimes what happens is they want to get another kingdom, they want to acquire other kingdom. And then Vaishyas are, of course, the traders, the bankers, the agriculturists. So Dhruva Maharaj, for example, in the course of ruling, had to fight and kill many yakshas. Such action is necessary for Kshatriyas. A Kshatriya should not be a coward and should not be non-violent. To rule over the country, he has to act violently. So Dhruva Maharaj was acting as a matter of duty for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. It's his duty to protect the kingdom, which he was doing very nicely. And by his performing his duty, he was pleasing the Supreme Lord. Bhagavatam says, if we do our duties and that performance of our duty does not bring us to the worship of the Supreme Lord, then that's just simply a waste of time. Krishna is also saying, you do whatever you have to do. You do your duty, but you do it for my pleasure. Do it for me. And then here's sacrifice.
I just have one question. Yes. So that as you said that any duty that we do and that does not bring us close to Krishna is of no benefit in the spiritual life. So is it that even in our day-to-day life, so how can we utilize in our day-to-day life? Can you Like,
For example, Krishna is telling Arjuna, you are a Kshatriya, you fight and do it for my pleasure. So we can be in any position, you know, we may be whatever position we are in, we each of us have a certain duty to perform, and we perform those duties for the pleasure of Krishna. We could be man, woman, husband, wife, you know, child, boss, or whatever. There's so many, and you know, a parent or a sibling. So we do all our duties for the pleasure of Krishna. Is that okay?
Yeah.
So here, sacrifice is mentioned here, and Dhruva Maharaj is performing great fire sacrifices, prescribed ceremonial sacrifices. And then what is the sacrifice which is prescribed for the age of Kali?
Hearing and chanting.
Harinam.
Harinam. Hearing and chanting.
Yeah. Thank you. And so what did we hear yesterday? That Kuver was asking Dhruva, I'll give you any benediction you want. And what benediction did Dhruva ask for?
Faith, unflinching faith and remembrance of the lotus feet of Krishna.
Devotion of God. Engage in devotional service.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Okay. So Kshatriyas and Vaishyas are therefore specially advised to give in charity at least 50% of their accumulated wealth. In Bhagavad Gita, it is recommended that even though one enters the renounced order of life, he still cannot give up the performance of yajna, dan, and tapasya. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that acts of charity, sacrifice, and austerity should never be given up, no matter what stage of life we are in. Sacrifice,
so just
charity,
one question.
and penance. Yeah.
Then Krishna said that we should not give up the act of charity, penance, and sacrifice. So that means that result should also be given to Krishna then, right?
That's
we
right.
should not expect the result for ourselves.
That's right.
But we should not stop doing it, but we should offer the result at the lotus feet of Krishna.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, because Krishna says, whatever you give away, also give it for me. He says that in Bhagavad Gita. And then, of course, he also describes like how charity can be in the mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance. But yeah, he says, do it for me.
So that means that offer the result to him, right? Like as what we were reading previously.
Yeah, do it for his pleasure. Because we are doing everything for our pleasure, you know. We say, I want to do it for myself. But Krishna is saying, you do it for me. We are doing it for ourselves because we want to enjoy the result. So sometimes these results are enjoyable and sometimes they are suffering. And so we have to stay here longer in the material world to be able to go through those results or experience those results.
Enjoying the result is the pap and the punya, right?
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Yeah, any activity is going to be giving us pap or punya, except if it is done for Krishna. Then it becomes a karma or devotion.
Until we offer it, right? Until we offer it at the lotus feet of Krishna, the result.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Tapasya is meant for the renounced order of life. Those who are retired from worldly activities should perform tapasya, penances, and austerities. Those who are in the material world, the Kshatriyas and Vaishyas, must give charity. Brahmacharis, in the beginning of their lives, should perform different kinds of yajnas. So what is the best charity we can give? Kshatriyas and Vaishyas here, they are advised to give charity. What is the best charity we can give?
Krishna's name.
Yes. Thank you. Give the holy name. That's the best charity. Dhruva Maharaj, as an ideal king, practically emptied his treasury by giving charity. A king is not meant simply to realize taxes from the citizens and accumulate wealth to spend in sense gratification. World monarchy has failed ever since kings began to satisfy their personal senses with the taxes accumulated from the citizens. So Dhruv Maharaj, an ideal king, of course, he was not just collecting taxes for himself to feel more and more powerful, but he was utilizing that money. Of course, whether the system is monarchy or democracy, the same corruption is still going on. At the present moment, there are different parties in the democratic government, but everyone is busy trying to keep his post or trying to keep his political party in power. The politicians have very little time to think of the welfare of the citizens, whom they oppress with heavy taxes in the form of income tax, sales tax, and many other taxes. People sometimes have 80 to 90% of their income taken away, and these taxes are lavishly spent for the high salaries drawn by the officers and rulers. We can practically see taxes just keep on increasing. Formerly, the taxes accumulated from the citizens were spent for performing great sacrifices as enjoined in the Vedic literature. So the kings or the government would actually use the money for the benefit of everyone. At the present moment, however, almost all forms of sacrifice are not at all possible. Therefore, it is recommended in the Shastras that people should perform Sankirtan Yajna. Any householder, regardless of his position, can perform this Sankirtan Yajna without expenditure. All the family members can sit down together and simply clap their hands and chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Sankirtan Yajna means kirtan together, like together with others. So Prabhupada is saying that even if it's just the family members, they can sit down and do kirtan by themselves. Somehow or the other, everyone can manage to perform such a yajna and distribute prasad to the people in general. That is quite sufficient for this age of Kali. The Krishna consciousness movement is based on this principle. Chant the Hare Krishna mantra at every moment, as much as possible, both inside and outside of the temples, and as far as possible, distribute prasad. So this is the Krishna consciousness movement. Doing Harinam and distributing prasad. This is what Prabhupada is saying. This process can be accelerated with the cooperation of state administrators and those who are producing the country's wealth. Simply by liberal distribution of prasad and sankirtan, the whole world can become peaceful and prosperous. So giving Harinam to everyone and distribution of prasad. Generally, in all the material sacrifices recommended in the Vedic literature, they are offerings to the demigods. This demigod worship is especially meant for less intelligent men. Actually, the result of such sacrifice goes to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayan. Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 5.29, Bhuktara Vyagya Tapasa. He is actually the enjoyer of all sacrifices. His name, therefore, is Yagya Purush. So in the Vedas deals a lot with the Karma Kand section. And in that, different types of sacrifices are mentioned to offer to different types of demigods. But this is just to attract people to piety. It's like giving a candy to a child before giving them the medicine. It's to attract people's attention, become pious, and then gradually give them the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, of Srimad Bhagavatam. It's like that. So the real purpose is, of course, the real purpose of all the Vedas is to know Krishna. Vedascha sarver aham eva vedya, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15. The purpose of all the Vedas is to know Krishna, to come to the point of understanding that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. Dhruva Maharaj was a great devotee and had nothing to do with these sacrifices. To set an example to his people, he performed many sacrifices and gave all his wealth in charity. For as long as he lived as a householder, he never spent a farthing for his sense gratification. So this is very, this shows that he is a pure devotee of the Lord. He is the emperor of the world, so he has so much money. But then he is not using it for his own desires that I'm going to enjoy from it. No, he's doing it as a matter of his duty, whatever duties he has to perform. In this verse, the word karma phala pradam is very significant. The Lord awards everyone different kinds of karma as the individual living entities desire. He's the supersoul present within the heart of everyone, and he's so kind and liberal that he gives everyone full facilities to perform whatever acts one wants. So Krishna, he fulfills our desire, whatever is our desire. He makes the arrangement for the fulfillment of those desires. And then when we get into trouble, then we say, oh, Krishna, you put me in trouble. But then the desire was ours, We acted in certain ways in which we shouldn't have acted. Then the result of the action is also enjoyed by the living entity. If anyone wants to enjoy or lord it over material nature, the Lord gives him full facilities, but he becomes entangled in the resultant reactions. So it's our desire that's keeping us here in the material world, because based on our desire, we act. Those actions give us reactions. Those reactions, if they are material, they will keep us here in the material world. Similarly, if anyone wants to engage himself fully in devotional service, the Lord gives him full facilities and the devotee enjoys the results. The Lord is therefore known as Karma Phala Prada. That the Lord is giving us, He's making the arrangement for us to fulfill our desires. Karma Phala Prada. So it depends on what's our desire. The pure devotee, he desires pure devotional service. So Krishna makes the arrangements for him to engage in pure devotional service. Krishna is kind. He's very kind. Whatever is our desire, he fulfills our desire. Sarvatmani achyute sarve.
Sarva Atmani
Atmani achyukte asarve.
Tivrogam bhaktim udvahan.
Tivra ogham bhaktim uddrahan.
Tadarshatmani bhuteshu.
Dadarsha atmani bhuteshu.
Tam eva vastitam vibhum.
Tam
Eva
eva
avastitam vibhum.
Dhruva Maharaj rendered devotional service unto the Supreme, the reservoir of everything, with unrelenting force. While carrying out his devotional service to the Lord, he could see that everything is situated in him only and that he is situated in all living entities. The Lord is called Achyuta because he never fails in his prime duty to give protection to his devotees. Krishna is called Bhakta Vachan, infallible. Krishna never fails. We are fallible. That's the difference. We are fallible, but Krishna is unfallible. Not only did Dhruva Maharaj perform many sacrifices, but he carried on his transcendental occupation of engagement in devotional service to the Lord. The ordinary karmis who want to enjoy the results of fruitive activities are concerned only with sacrifices and ritualistic ceremonies, as enjoined in the Vedic Shastras. Although Dhruva Maharaj performed many sacrifices in order to be an exemplary king, he was constantly engaged in devotional service. So Dhruva Maharaj, he was performing the sacrifice, which was recommended in that age, but he continued with his devotional service. He didn't stop it. Now we For us, everything is, because we Kalyug people, we do not have the capability, the capacity to perform separate sacrifices. So the sacrifice for us is chant Hare Krishna mantra. That is the sacrifice for us. Although Dhruva Maharaj performed many sacrifices, the Lord always protects his surrendered devotee. A devotee can see that the Lord is situated in everyone's heart, as stated in Bhagavad Gita, Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam Hrideshe Arjuna Tishtati. So the Lord always protects his surrendered devotee. Any pastimes to show this? How the Lord protects his surrendered devotee?
Kunti Devi.
Kunti Devi,
like how he
when?
protected
Prahlad.
Kunti Devi. Like when even nobody was with her, she was a widow and nobody supported, but he always protected all the Pandu, 5 of them. All his children were protected again and again by Duryodhan, like how they attacked, how Bhim was given the poison, but that poison turned into nectar. And even from the Laksha Graha, they were protected only by Krishna's mercy because Kunti Devi was a surrendered devotee. So
Kunti and the Pandavas.
Yeah, and the Pandavas. Yeah, because Kunti Devi was also there. So they were always and always protected by Krishna.
Yeah, and Prahlad Maharaj, yeah. And any other?
Draupadi.
Draupadi.
Kiraran.
Yeah.
She remembered Krishna.
Yeah.
And
Draupadi.
even Haridas Thakur, he was protected by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, like when he was beaten in the Bais Bazaar.
Yes.
He was protected.
Yes.
And Ambarish Maharaj.
Ambarish Maharaj, yes. Yeah.
I think Lord has taken the avatar of the Kashi avatar, Mash avatar to protect the nursing avatar, just to protect the devotee. It's a new form of the God, but it's still for protecting the devotee. He has taken avatar, I think so.
Yeah, you said Nursing Avatar, right? Yes, Prahlad Maharaj.
Kashi avatar, even devotee were fighting, Arjun and Hanuman was fighting, so he has taken the Kashi avatar, Kashva, like tortoise avatar.
Tortoise he took for the churning of the ocean.
No.
Help the demigods.
Arjun and Hanuman was fighting, that my God is great. Arjun told my God is great. They were fighting. So see, he told your Ram was just so like coward. He has taken the shelter of this thing, like monkeys, to make the bridge. And how to make the bridge with one like arrow. I am making the bridge. Saying, okay, I can like destroy your arrow just now only. So he took the Hanuman become big and bigger form. So he want to destroy that your Krishna is nothing. But for protecting that bridge, he took the avatar of the Kashi avatar to protect the bridge and to bring the harmony in both, like both devotee. All rules are mine. This is the
that
story
was
I have.
Muni. Yeah, that was the Muni, some Muni, right? Not the
Kashi avatar. There is Kashi avatar, Kashi avatar, Mach avatar, Machli avatar. Then different avatar, Nursing avatar.
Machli, yeah, the to save the Vedas, Lord took the Matsya avatar at the time of Pralay. When the Pralay was happening, the Lord took the Matsya avatar. Also, the Lord protected Gajendra.
Gajendra, yeah, this one. Yeah.
We are going to hear about Gajendra in the eighth canto, I think. Yeah.
Nursing avatar to protect.
Yes, Lord Nishingadev to protect
protected
Prahlad Maharaj.
He also protected the son of Abhimanyu. I'm forgetting the name. It's a very important name. Parikshit Maharaj. Yeah, he protected Parikshit Maharaj in the womb of Uttara when he was not even born. Yeah.
So we can see so many examples. The Lord is always protecting his devotee. That's why he's called Bhakta Vatsal. Always he's protecting his devotee.
Mirabai. Yeah.
Mirabai. Yeah, so many examples. So many. That's how the Lord is known, as the protector of the devotees, and he likes to be known like that. He likes to be called in relation with his devotees. So thank you so much. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhaktavinda ki jai, Hare Krishna.